Hey everybody, this is William Smith with Kentucky Traditional Leather and Forge, and this is a continued video for our home tanning series. And what I'm going over today is all the material items that are needed for Braintan. This one specifically being wet scrape Braintan. What I always suggest is always be prepared with what you're getting ready to do. And that encompasses having some kind of guide or somebody there with you, teaching you. That way it's a great experience. That way it's also, you're not going to have as many problems as you would if you were trying to do it bit by bit. There are a lot of steps in the process where you can stop, take a break, take your time. I teach those during my own classes, and it's just one of those things that when somebody gets in, especially if they work during the week and they only have the weekend and they run into a problem, be sure to have some kind of field guide or manual or a friend, or make sure you watch these videos before you attempt it on your own. Like I said, I'm going to be going through everything that I've got here. This is a basic representation of what you'll need or have to have for the brain tanning. This is also what we utilize in my classes that I give, for brain tanning. Of course, to begin with, you got to have your basic deer hide. Deer hide, this one here is sitting on a scraping beam, and what you're going to have to do normally with the hide, depending on how you've got to preserve it, whether it's frozen or salted. This is a salted hide. You've got to rehydrate it. So rehydrating the hide, you're going to need yourself a good 30-gallon trash can. Any trash can will work. Just make sure it's been cleaned out, for it. And just take the hide, fill the trash can about up to here, and throw it in there. You want to make sure it's fully rehydrated, and to help with that, I recommend a stirring stick to basically get it in there, stir it around. It only takes a couple hours at the most. It also helps wash out any of the blood or anything else that's on the hide. From here, what we're going to need next is probably an apron, a flushing tool or scraper, and depending on personal choice, a set of chemical gloves. What you're going to do is basically flush off all the meat. From there, we're going to take the hide, kind of let it sit here for a second. We're going to go back, and what we're going to do is what's usually known as the bucking or the lye process. Depending on what you're using, whether it be lye that we get from a soap supplier store, or if you're actually using the wood ash method. Nice thing about it on having the chemical gloves is because it's a caustic or a alkaline type of pH to it. This will really help with skin irritations, or for those who are really sensitive for it. Going from this process back to the beam, you're going to scrape all the hair and remove the grain. From here, you're basically going to go back to the 30-gallon trash can. It's going to have regular water into it, and you're going to neutralize and rinse. Once again, stirring stick helps out there. From here, you're going to go to next is going to, once you've got the neutralized hide, you're going to be going to using emulsified oil for oiling the hide or putting the brains into it. What I like to use is pork brains personally. A lot of people can't get these, so what they utilize is 1 dozen eggs, or the egg yolks, for it. And what's recommended when you're doing this process is either using warm water that goes into a 5-gallon bucket, or you can sit down and heat it up. Once we've got the our oil dressing that we're going to put the hide into, we're going to basically, as I said, go to the 5-gallon bucket. The bucket itself, I personally like utilizing a bucket that has a graduated measuring system. When you're utilizing just one hide, usually it's 1 pound of brains with 1 gallon of warm water, or it's a dozen egg yolks with 1 gallon of water. It's great if you're sitting down just messing with it, or with 1 hide, 2 hides, however you need to do. Next step in the spray process is wringing the hide. Wringing the hide, we're going to go from wet to dry in this process in order to go from here's the raw hide, it's now got the oils into it. We're going to wring it out and try to get out as much moisture as possible. The hide itself, after wringing it, then needs to be opened. I normally recommend either utilizing a staker, or you can utilize the edge of a chair or a post, or if you have to, you can also use the sharp edge of your beam in order to open the hide. Working the hide, is what comes next. Working the hide from wet to dry, you can utilize the beam staker. You can go over the twisted steel cable, which a lot of people call this a softening cable, and a pumice stone. These items are utilized for working both the front and the back of it, in order to give it that nice velvety feel, or the buckskin, for it. Next, once we've got the hide to a dry status, for it, what we need to do is we need to preserve all the hard work, and everything that we've put into it. This is what's called the smoking. Let me back up for a second. For a lot of guys that are doing for the first time, or if you're doing multiple hides, what would be recommended is a Ziploc bag or some kind of bag that you can put your hide in. What a lot of people don't really understand is, and where I was talking about having the knowledge for everything, these hides dry really fast and can get ahead of you and be a real bear for some people to work, whether somebody's young and experienced with it or doesn't have the experience. It can dry on them real fast. If you have a bag, and basically if you're going to take your breaks in between the softening steps, a bag really helps out as far as you can put the wet hide in the bag, seal it up, no air gets to the hide so it's not going to dry too fast on you. Really great if you got somebody calling or something, always stopping. Because I do this for a living or with the classes, there's always something there, that's going to get into the process. So it's great to have the bag and be prepared for it. Now on to the last step. Last step, as I said, was smoking. When you have your basic setup, for it, you're going to need two things. You're going to take your hide and you're going to basically glue it up, pin it up multiple different ways, and you need something to put your fire in, and you got to have a blue jean skirt to extend from the bottom of the bag in order to put your fire in here, cool off the smoke as it goes to the hide. Of course, you're going to have your punky wood material, your charcoal, your different things for however you're going to use it. Everybody has different preferences in that. List of materials will be found in the drop-down box of the video for it, or you can, if you get a book, most of them also have the materials list into it, and we'll sit down and definitely go back over all this again. When I sit down and I show the different parts of the process, I'll make sure that you have everything with you before you start. This is it. Basically, everything that you need for being able to do the Braintan from start to finish. And the follow-on videos, what I'll do is the next video is going to be show you how to obtain your hides and how to preserve them for winter time or for later usage. And I'll also sit down and take the hides step by step through each of the different steps for the tanning. Be sure to follow us in the video series. If you want to find us on Facebook, our name is also Kentucky Traditional Leather and Forge there too. And follow us through the series. I think we've got a lot that we can go over together. Thank you very much.